So, welcome to our next lesson. My name's Simon Grant, and we're going to be talking about rhythm, kinds of time, bars and bar lines. And now we've done bars and bar lines already. Alright, so when we get to that part of the lesson, we'll just skim through it quite quick. But I want to talk about rhythm and kinds of time. Okay? So when we look at this music, this is the sort of music that we play as pipe band drummers. The more advanced drummers among us, you'll be able to look at this and play it straight away. For the ones who are not as advanced, you'll be able to look at this, you'll say, well, that's a flam, that's a roll, alright, there's an accent, there's a triplet, what else can we see that we played before? There's a 7-stroke roll from right to left, there's another triplet. So there's loads of things that you'll be able to see. Okay, there's our dots and cuts. And we've literally just had a lesson on dots and what they do to a note. They increase the note's value by half. Alright, so that, instead of being 2 semiquavers, which would be 1A or and a, quite quick, it's got a dot, so it's going to be stretched, and then it's going to be cut, stretch, cut. So what did you notice, other than me talking and pointing my mouse everywhere? Alright, you'll have noticed all the different note shapes that we play. You'll have noticed the bars. Alright, so remember the bars were the space between 2 bar lines where we write our music. You'll have noticed the bar lines. Alright, remember we spoke about them. They were the little lines going through the staff that split the music into equal parts. So everything was equal. And again, if you think of any song that you listen to, alright, it's going to have bars in it. You don't see the music for it. Alright, you'll just hear the tune and hear whoever's singing it. It's all in equal bars and equal parts. And you'll have seen roll signs that were pointed out, and of course you'll have seen embellishments. Embellishments, you're thinking, what is an embellishment? Alright, an embellishment is a flam or a drag, anything that's added to a note to make it sound better. Alright, and we will do a lesson on embellishments separately. But if you know roughly what an embellishment is now, again, it's going to make life so much easier for you. So an embellishment is basically a flam or a drag or something added to a note. So say you've got a note, boom, that's it there. You want to make that in the single note sound better, put a flam on it. Suddenly it sounds better. That's what an embellishment. Basically something added to a note to enhance it. Boom. Rhythm. Alright, nobody ever knows what rhythm is. Alright, folk will be like, oh, is rhythm what you feel in your heart when you hear a song? Well, maybe. Alright, that's almost like your inner rhythm, I suppose. If you can tap your foot to a song, or tap the table, or clap your hands to a song, then you'll have a sense of rhythm. Okay? As you can see there, most music played has a natural and very clear pattern of beats. Alright, so any song that you hear, you'll see folk doing TikToks and things like that, clapping their hands, stamping their feet, doing all sorts of dances. Alright, as long as they're in time with the music, they're going to have a sense of rhythm. Alright, and rhythm is the regular reoccurrence of the strong and weak accents in music. And you're like, well, what is a strong and what is a weak accent? I will explain exactly what they are. Alright, basically, it's a strong beat. Alright, it's the regular reoccurrence, or what that means is always happening over and over and over again of the strong and weak accents in music. So if I give you a strong and weak accent in music, there's me tapping my foot. Alright, if I give you a strong and weak accent, strong, weak, strong, weak, strong, weak, strong, weak. It's just that over and over again. That's what rhythm is. Okay, it could be fast, strong, weak, strong, weak, strong, weak. It could be slow. Alright, as long as that's happening regularly and equally spaced, rhythm. That's your rhythm there. It's telling you exactly what it is. You'll hear strong and weak beats in all forms of music, being piping, drumming, or even popular songs by recording artists. Okay, and it is not a dancer. Before any old folk dive in, because there's a song, rhythm is a dancer. Yep, no, rhythm is not a dancer. Alright, it's just a song lyric that they made up. Rhythm is a regular reoccurrence of the strong and weak accents in music. Okay, That is what you need to take away. If somebody says, what's rhythm? That's what you need to know. Alright, so I'm going to wait maybe 5 or 10 seconds. If any of you are writing this down, then well done. If you're not, you've got a few more seconds to write it out. Rhythm is the regular reoccurrence of the strong and weak accents in music. Remember as well, after all of these lessons, I'll give you a little handout on the Google Classroom, or if you're watching this online on the YouTube channel, ping me a wee message and I can send you the handouts for this. Oh, press space, it gave it a wee wiggle. That was quite funny. So, the kinds of time. We spoke earlier about the 2 types of time. And you're like, did we? Yes, we did. We spoke about simple and compound time. So they're the types of time. So the 2 types of time. Simple time is when the beat note could be split in half. Compound time is when the beat note could be split in 3. The kinds of time are the 2 pulse pattern is called simple time. Yep. 3 pulse pattern is called triple time. Quadruple time. Now that says simple time. Alright, that should say duple time. That's really annoying. Alright, so the 2 pulse pattern is called duple time. 3 pulse pattern is called triple time. 4 pulse pattern is called quadruple time. So what you're seeing here, boys and girls, is an example of when you make a PowerPoint and you don't check it over. Alright, so that should say duple time. D-U-P-L-E. Duple or double, meaning it's got 2 beats. 3 pulse pattern, triple time. 4 pulse pattern, quadruple time. Alright, so that's the 3 kinds of time that we deal with. So everybody here has played a 3/4 march. Alright, that's 3 pulse pattern or a triple time because it's got 3 beats. We count 1, 2, 3. If it's duple time, it's got 2 beats. 1, 2, 1, 2. And if it's quadruple time, it's got 4 beats. It'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. And that goes over and over and over again. Okay? And they're collectively known as the kinds of time. That is really annoying that I've not put duple in the 2 pulse pattern. Alright, I'll need to remember after this to change that. Because if I don't, I'll end up doing this lesson again and it's still going to be there. And it's going to annoy me. Now you're thinking pulse patterns. Pulse patterns is just beat patterns. Alright, with pulse patterns, I always say to folk, think of the bass drummer in the pipe band. Alright, so you know the person who will wear the big bass drum, the boom, boom, boom. Alright, that's them. They're going to play, predominantly they'll play these pulse patterns. Alright, so pulse patterns are the structure in which each kind of time is played. So if I said what is the pulse pattern for duple time, the bass drummer or you guys will be able to tell me. If what's the pulse pattern for triple time, you will be able to tell me. Okay. Duple time has a pattern of strong, weak. So when we play 1, 2, 1, 2, number 1 is going to be strong, number 2 is going to be weak. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's louder, softer. It's the way you play it. It's got strong emphasis. Number 2 will have weak emphasis, for example. Oh, who's that? Jeez, oh. Yeah, go turn your mic off just now, whoever that is drumming. Because remember, this is going to be going out there. You about gave me a heart attack there. Jeez, oh. Aye. So if I was to change it to volume, it would be like this. Strong, weak, strong, weak, strong, weak. So that's the pulse pattern for the duple time. So if somebody said to you, what's the pulse pattern for duple time? You would say strong, weak. For triple time, it's strong, weak, weak. Give me a minute. I'll come and get you in a minute. Go out. I'll get you in a minute. Go out. So, triple time is a pulse pattern of strong, weak, weak. So you've got 3. So the strong one would be boom, weak, weak, strong, weak, weak. 1, 2, 3. So if somebody says to you, what's the pulse pattern for triple time? You would say it's strong, weak, weak. Now before you jump in and say quadruple time has got strong, weak, 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 It's not a strong, weak, medium, weak. Alright, so it would be strong, weak, medium, weak, strong, weak, medium, weak. So if you hear a bass drummer playing a 4/4, they're going to be playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. If they're playing a 3/4 march, they're going to be going 1 and 2, 3 and 1 and 2, 3 and flam, 7-stroke roll, higgity diggity dot, flam, higgity diggity dot. So for those who are working on the 3/4 march, that's what the bass drummer is going to play. Alright, they'll be playing that exact pattern. And mass band 2/4, tap, flam, 7-stroke roll, 7-stroke roll, right, left, right, flam. Let's send our minds right back to when we learned that bad boy. Alright, that feels like forever ago, I'd imagine. Alright, that one would be tap, flam, 7-stroke roll, 7-stroke roll, right, left, right, flam, 7-stroke roll, 7-stroke roll. Okay? What is simple time? We've already covered this, so this should be easy peasy. Simple time is when the beat notes or rests can be divided into two notes of equal value. Okay, so basically a beat note which can be split in half. So remember we said a simple note or tune in simple time, the beat note will be split in half. So if the beat note was crotchets, you can split them in half to quavers like we did on the whiteboard before. Okay, easy peasy. A compound note is a note that can be split into 3 parts. So the minute it's got a dot on it, that's when it's split into 3 parts, and it's a compound note. And it says, give me an example of notes which can be divided into 2 notes of equal value. You're not going to be able to do that, alright, because you're watching this back. So an example of notes that can be divided into 2 notes would be any notes that are on your duration table. Any single one of them could be split in half. So a quaver, split it in half, you get 2 semiquavers. A crotchet, split in half, you get 2 quavers. Okay, they all split in half. Like this. Alright, so we're doing it with rests. We've got a wee cheeky semi-brief rest, minim rest there. Splitting it in half, and it's given us 2 crotchet rests. So this part of the lesson is almost like revision, because we've done this. But judging by the reaction I got last time we covered it, a little bit of revision, there's probably no harm in it, to be honest. Okay, so simple time is when the beat notes or rests can be divided into 2 notes of equal value, basically split in half. So again, yeah, we're splitting that semi-brief in half, minim, sorry, and getting 2 crotchets. Or you're taking this crotchet, and I can smell a funny animation coming. Ooh, there it is. Splitting that crotchet in half, you're getting 2 quavers. Okay, so if the note cannot be split in half, then it is not a simple note. Nobody will have any questions about that, I'm sure. Okay, anyone that's watching this back, please get in touch if you have any questions. Alright, so I'm not going to get you to shout out, because it's going to be put out onto the YouTube channel probably this video, so you might not want your voices on the YouTube channel. But what is a simple note? Have a little think to yourself, whilst I have a think to myself. And my daughter came in the room earlier asking for paper, so I'm going to look it out whilst you're thinking. A simple note is a note which can be split into 2 parts or 2 equal parts. So for example, a crotchet, you split in half. How can you tell when a note is simple? You can tell it's simple when it's not got a dot after it, I would say. Alright, if it's not got a dot, it means it can be split in half. And give me 2 examples of a simple note broken down. So what that would be meaning is, you would draw a picture of a crotchet, and then beside it you could do equals and 2 quavers, showing the crotchet split in half. Or you could do any of the notes, a semiquaver, and then beside it equals 2 demi-semiquavers. Oh, and we're getting answers, look at that. Simple notes are those which can be divided into 2 notes of equal value. Basically a beat note split in half. How can you tell when a note is simple? When it is undotted. Yes, that's what I said, so I'm getting that one right. And can be divided into two notes of equal lesser value, or two notes of equal value. What is compound time? Ooh, compound time is when the beat notes or rests are those which can be divided into three notes of equal value. So the exact same as a simple note, except you're adding a dot to it. So remember, the dot increased the note by half. Alright, so when you see a dot, you're going to know straight away that that's a compound note. Okay? And then it says, give me two examples of notes that can be divided into three equal parts. That is probably the easiest question ever, because it's the exact same. You put any single note you want, alright, and then put a dot after it. The minute you put a dot after that note, it can be split into three. Okay? So you're seeing there, the exact same as we've done with the simple notes, alright, or simple rests, the exact same minim, but it's got a dot. Alright, so instead of it being divisible by 2, it's divisible by 3. And instead of getting 2, we're getting 3. That dot is adding the third one every single time. Oh, we're going to get a cheeky animation this time. Nope, not this time. Never mind. So, again, you've got the dot, which means it's divided by 3. Boom, you're getting 3 quavers. So instead of 2 quavers, when it's just a crotchet on its own, you're now getting 3 quavers, because it's a dotted crotchet. Oh, and let's see when it says any questions. I think there's a test coming up. Now, it's been a while since I've used this PowerPoint, so I can smell a test coming. Yes, there it is. What is a compound note? Again, have a little think. If you've got paper and a pen there, you can write out your answers if you want and give yourselves a little tick or a little cross. I can't give you too much time to think about it. Alright, we're just going to need to dive in. So what is a compound note? A compound note is a dotted note, so it's got a dot after it, and it can be split into 3 equal parts. That is what a compound note is. How can you tell when a note is compound? It's got a dot after it. Alright, I didn't really give you time to write that down. I kind of dove in there. And give me 2 examples of a compound note broken down. So you could draw that. Alright, you could potentially draw a dotted crotchet. A dotted crotchet broke down is basically 3 quavers, like we've seen before. A dotted quaver broken down would be 3 semiquavers. So it's almost like you're splitting the note in half, but adding that extra note. Are we getting the answers? Yes, we are. Compound notes are those which can be divided into 3 notes of equal value. Basically a beat note, which can be split into 3 equal parts. And you can tell a beat note is, that should be saying compound. That should say compound there. How can you tell when a note is compound? Silly Simon. When it is dotted and can be divided into 3 notes of equal lesser value. Any questions on the entire lesson? It says, I've got a question. How come I can put out a PowerPoint and it's got like loads of little silly things wrong with it? That's my question. Alright, so here's another example of a little test. What is a compound note? Yep, we've done that. What's a simple note? Okay. Are the notes below simple or compound? This is the sort of thing that you might get on a test, like an SCQF test. Like, what is a compound note? It's a note that can that's dotted and can be split into 3. What's a simple note? It's a note that's undotted, can be split in half. How can you tell a note is compound? Because it's got a dot. How can you tell a note is simple? Jeez, oh man, that should say simple, not compound. I am on fire today. Alright, are the notes below simple or compound? No dot, simple, dot, compound, compound, simple. Okay, easy peasy. So again, you might find some of that tricky, but please be patient with it. If you just disregard it and say, oh my, that is just far too hard, I give up, then you will absolutely never get it. absolutely never get it. Alright, you just need to have a bit of patience and be willing to try it again. And of course, for folk that I teach in the schools, the primaries in Preston Lodge, if you are struggling, please pipe up and tell me. I really, really don't mind explaining it in person, because sometimes seeing it on a video or seeing it on a screen makes it really tricky, and you're like, I just don't get that. But being in person and explaining it to you in person, maybe writing it down on a bit of paper for you, honestly, it sometimes makes it so much easier. So I really, really don't mind helping if anyone's got any questions at all, or with me helping in person. It's not a drama.